That's
true.
amazing.
Sure. Oh yeah. Lou Groza, he was a great guy. Yes. His son here. Well, I met his son here. I've seen his son, but I met him since here, and he's a great guy. He and as Lou was, and Jackie, his mother, she's super. She was super. I used to meet her. A lot of times you see people the same way here at the club here. You see people outside of the club, and if they see you, they run to the other opposite direction. But the Browns and then the club, they never done that. They always, if they see you, hi Bernie, and if their families come up and hug you, kiss you, and it's just a happy medium that both. I've just been blessed. That's all. It's been wonderful.
Before we close the Browns discussion, talk about your feelings when you knew a move was imminent. And
well, it was sad that they had to move, but when they were telling different people that they were going to tell them that they were, and they went and told us individually. The general manager at the time, Jim Bailey. I'm sorry,
Bailey, right.
And and I told him, I said, you'd be crazy if you even thought about taking me, because I'm 67. I can retire, and I'm about to retire. I said, so what good would it do for you to take me to Baltimore, and another year I wouldn't be there. I said, it would be to your advantage. So he said, yeah, that's right, Bernie. He says, but they took very good care of us. We had no problem financially. They took good care of us, not only me but all of us. They were fair, and
just too bad it had to come to that.
It had to. Well, and a lot of people, what they don't realize, if he had not done that, in 6 months he would have been broke. No one would have cared, because we're football fans. Mm-hmm. We're not concerned about his finances. Right. The only thing we're concerned about is we want to see the football team on the field. And it started years ago when, of course, when the salaries bloomed high, and he had to start borrowing money from different companies to get things. And I've seen some of the checks. I've seen millions of dollars that he's borrowed, but he paid them right back. He could get money from any bank or any person that he wanted to, because he was that type of fellow. Then he paid them back as soon as, in less than 6 months. He showed me the checks some of the checks that he had, and said, as I used to go to banks and go down in their vaults, and I could step over the monies and things where a lot of people can't even get near the bank. You can't hardly get in the door. But it's just opened up a lot of doors for me and my family. Yes, it's been very.
Unfortunately, the game has grown so big.
So big,
the
it's
days of a family ownership.
Sure, it's priced themselves out of it. Well, it's like any celebrities.
Right.
We're pricing ourselves, and employees. We're pricing ourselves out of the business, because how much can you continue to give, and you have to make a profit, because you have to live too. But a lot of us don't look at it that way.
Have you had a chance to speak to Mr. Modell since that day?
Not since he left. I never had to speak to him, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to. Because as I say, he was good to us, and I have no qualms whatsoever about him. And I'm glad that he's doing it, and he's always in my prayers. I always, when I say my prayers, I always prayed for him also. Sure.
Well, I hope you're praying for the current edition of the Browns.
Oh yes, they need help. That's true. Yes, and Norma, she's a great person too. We went to the year that we went to Europe, and she was in our on our plane, and even home after game or after practice, we sit in the lounge and play cards. And Norma and Lerner, they would always be around, and just normal people. They were just normal people. As Art was, he was just a normal person course, the bigger the business got, the less the less time he had to spend with us. But they were really nice people.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, they took us all to Europe, to London. Any one of the families they wanted to go. My son, he was living in California at the time, so we told him if he could come, if he would get here, we had a ticket for him. So he came here, and he went to London with us. So it was really nice. That was.
Are you in fact related to Carl Big Daddy Hairston?
A distant cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, we met. We started checking on our backgrounds, and he's a distant cousin. We have the Hairston reunion. That was they've had that for years, and there was over 10,000 people in that and they've had conventions. There's over 10,000 of Hairstons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so it's. See, my father, he was the youngest of 17. He never saw his oldest brothers and sisters. And my mother, she's the oldest of 12. She was a twin. So it was.
Big family.
Yes. Oh yes. Sure.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Well, tell us after the Browns had left, and of course now you were at the hotel, and then you were here, Browns. Tell us your relationships with people here. Who actually talked with you? We heard of how you came here part-time
Sure.
as such, but tell us about your recollection of Lakewood when you first came over here, and of course you knew some of the people ahead of time, and what your impressions were.
Well, naturally,
So what's going on?
naturally, we have to start with Manco, because he was a character, and of course his sons Jim and Bud, they're and the two girls he had, they were dolls. They were real nice, and in fact we had our anniversary here, our 50th wedding anniversary here, my wife and I, and we invited Jim and his wife, and of course Bonnie and Bud, they were not able to make it. But some of our members were there, and it was great. It was real nice, and the parties that we've had, and some of the members that we've had, and I've been out with dinners with some of them, as I have with you, and I've had with in fact, unfortunately, we were out 3 weeks ago with the Bartels and the Stantons. And then then this came up when she died. It was really we were really shocked. And she was a doll, and as is most of our members, they're just real nice people, and they said this is a family. This is just family. It's not this is a country club, and we're not as snobbish as most clubs are. Everyone is down to earth. I remember when we first started. When I first started here, they had the members. They didn't have that much money. Some of them they would change their shoes in their car. They wouldn't go to the locker room, and can't forget of John Kulimak, and can't think of the woman that's upstairs. I knew her very well, but she was the locker room, and he was the locker room man. Right. Kulimak used to get drinks for the members, and he'd put his hands in the finger. He's just finished shining shoes, and this is where he would bring the drinks to them. And McGettrick, we had a play here, and they were kidding. They were talking about Anna is who I was trying to think of. Anna was the woman here, and some of us used to stay here. I didn't, but some years ago, when you were a waiter or waitress, mostly waiters. We had mostly waiters here then, and they stayed right on the premises, the same as Westwood or all the other country clubs. When they would come in and they would leave, they would come out. They would come to work on Mondays, and they work from Monday through Sunday. Then they go home on weekends. And I can't forget, we had the bartender, Walter. I don't know whether you ever knew Walter Carter.
No.
He was a great guy. He was just like a brother to me. He was, in fact, he was my captain, and later on my head waiter at Lakeshore Hotel. And then he became, when I first came here, they asked me about someone else, and I told them Walter. Because Walter, the week later, he was hired here. And we were just, and he was a character. He would make.
What did he do to get that name as a character?
Well, Walter would as all of our older members. Walter would would serve you a drink, and he served himself one.
So, that was a jovial move.
Yes, and they were. But it was, as I said, it was a lot of fun here. And we had, when they opened up this clubhouse from the old club, we used to have, as any place, you'd get 150 people for dinner just about every night. Because when you build something, and it has to be extreme, you want to show what you've done at your club. And we used to have 150 people for dinner. And then when we opened this side up, the dinner we was always busy here. Downstairs here, and the patio opened downstairs. Each time you open up something different, but as I said, it has to be extreme, because you don't want to. You want to come out and show people what you've done, like the Telehouse room here. Mm-hmm. You want to bring your guests out to say, well, let's show you what you've done. This new place, this new area, it's going to be something. It's going to pay off for the years or two. And the same way with the new club at Westwood. Mm-hmm. When they open up, they'll have 200, 300 people a night, because again, it's going to be a new edifice. It's really nice.
When you first started, there was an old clubhouse here.
It was an old clubhouse with down by the street.
You have any memories of that building? Or?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of fun. That's when the kids, when we used to deal with the kids. And something else I was remiss to say, we used to have games with the kids out in the parking lot when the members, like Memorial Day or 4th of July, the members, they would be out on the golf course. And the kids would be out here and having fun. We'd have volleyball or whatever. And some of the kids, and I have to say this was Mike Miller. Michael. They had a father and son basketball, volleyball program, show, mm-hmm. a play. And then but his father and mother was out on a golf course. And he came and got me. He said, Bernie. He said, will you come and be with me? He said, they want my father and mother. And that's again, it throws you, it just, your chest expands. And a couple of years ago, it might have been last year, the Kirks, Danny and Hercula's son, and Dave Reddrop's son, they were here playing golf down there. And they came up to me and says, Bernie, he said, I want to thank you. He said, you made me a man. And what can you say? But thank you. Yeah. And they were really, and that's the type of kids that we had here. And other kids have done the same thing. And Doug Miller and Harry Cato. They're older now, and they were just kids. More or less, their parents was here, and I said the Mancos, and I can't think of any of the others, but it was just fun being here.
See, again, teaching not only as fun, but teaching friendship and relationships to children beyond the parents.
Beyond, that's true.
And most of the time, I keep hearing the stories of, well, if my mother or father told me to do this,
right.
But if my neighbor or a good friend or someone I respected said that, I immediately had no objection.
Right.
I responded. And that has happened, I think, to all of us.
That's true.
Someplace in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Where a neighbor, an aunt, or an uncle,
right.
or a good friend says,
sure.
I don't think you should be doing that, or
right.
trying to redirect you. So you have touched countless people, not adults,
yep.
but also youngsters through 50
yes.
years.
Annie can't think of Annie's last. And Ann Stouffer.
Yes.
I get a letter from her every year. I get a card from her for my birthday and also for my for holiday, for Christmas.
Right.
And the others, I can't forget Terry Southworth.
Oh, okay.
And Liz Graff. Liz Graff was born here, and I cannot call her doctor, as I do a lot of other friends here. I cannot call them. They will not allow me to call them doctor or their Mr. Miller, including Doug.
Right.
Doug says, "Hi, no, you call me Doug."
Right.
Dan Falzine, a lot of them, they tell me, "Nope, you cannot call me by my last name. You call me by my first name."
Right. Yeah,
And
that's
that's respect. And I didn't